rules. Money rules. Money. Welcome to the Money Rules podcast, where we tackle your personal financial matters with leading financial advisors. Your host, Boitumelo Ntsoko.
As we approach the end of the year, we often find ourselves caught up in the excitement of the festivities, the joy of giving and receiving, the warmth of family gatherings, and the allure of beautifully decorated spaces. But it's also a time that can strain our wallets if not approached with care. To guide us through the intricacies of holiday budgeting, we have Maria Smith, who is a certified financial planner at Brentest Wealth. Welcome to the podcast, Maria.
Thank you so much, Timmy. Thanks for having me.
Maria, why is it crucial for individuals and families to approach the festive season with a well-thought-out financial plan?
So it is actually a bit late to start with a well-thought-out financial plan now. It would be best to start in January already to say, listen, we have to budget. We have to save for Christmas. It's easier to save a little bit every month, and then you can have wonderful South African December without having that financial stress and knowing, you know what, in January I have to pay for my kids' school fees, I have to buy school clothes. So starting early, budgeting early is the best way to ensure that you don't have a stressful festive season. The next one is to avoid debt, especially in the times we are in now. If you were to go over your budget and you would have to incur debt, you're going to effectively pay 13-14% interest on gifts you gave someone. So avoid incurring debt. That is the most important thing. And then to prevent financial stress, start early. So take this podcast for next year.
Could you share some practical tips for our listeners on creating a realistic and manageable holiday budget?
So the best way that is easy to maintain is to say, set up every year, set up a meeting, a family meeting, and say, this is what we want to do for the year. So we want to go to the Kruger National Park. This is how much it's going to cost. If we save this much every month, we're going to reach that goal and we're going to have a wonderful holiday without incurring debt. So set up your financial goals and then maintain them. The other thing is, if you were to be one of the lucky South Africans to get a holiday bonus, instead of splurging it on gifts, rather save a good portion of that for January expensive. Put a savings pocket somewhere and say, I'm not touching these funds. This is for January. And then you know your debit orders in January are going to go off because you saved that one side. So take care of yourself first before enjoying the holidays.
Maria, with so many aspects of the holiday season, how can people prioritize where to allocate their budgets when it comes to gifts, decorations, and events? Let's say for people who already have a budget, and then maybe we can also look at those who have limited resources as well.
Yeah, so that's an easy one. I experienced that myself now. I have a bunch of friends and we're, funnily enough, all financial planners. So that gift giving season is quite easy for us because we are all trying to save. So the first thing is, instead of saying everybody buys a gift for everybody, do Secret Santa or buy a gift per family. I think that works quite nice. Everybody still gets excited and it's a lot cheaper than buying 3 or 4 different gifts for a family. And the other thing is, you have to be realistic and don't just spend all your money. Set boundaries. If your friends and family truly love you, they will understand the boundaries. And at the end of the day, you don't want to create that financial stress on yourself. So set up a spending limit for yourself. And instead of going lavish on gifts, rather do experiences, spend time with your family, because that's what Christmas is about at the end of the day. So that'll be my advice, to say, instead of spending a whole lot of money on gifts that are going to, especially toys, 3 or 4 months down the line, kids get tired of that toy and then they want something new. So rather spend time with them instead of buying a gift.
And how can someone factor in unexpected expenses or last-minute additions to their holiday budget?
So To avoid unexpected expenses, ensure that your insurance is on track, that you are covered for all unexpected things that can happen. That's the first thing. If you're going on a road trip, ensure that your car is in working order. Take it to the garage to ensure that everything is, you won't get a surprise on the road. The next thing is ensure that you have an emergency fund, especially now with Christmas and maybe getting a Christmas bonus or getting your SARS refund. Put that one side for emergencies instead of spending it and then having to use debt to cover the expenses.
Balancing enjoyment and financial responsibility is quite crucial during this period. How can individuals strike that balance well?
So I think that is, especially now in South Africa, most people are trying to balance that with interest rates being so high, fuel being so expensive, inflation just biting into our tiny salaries that we do receive. So the first one would be to explore free or low cost events instead of, say, going to the movies or doing something that's costing money. Rather go walk in one of these like walking parks where it's a lot cheaper. Kids enjoy it a lot more because they're in nature, they're outside. So look for free or low cost events. Limit extravagant parties. Instead of having these extravagant costume parties with a lot of drinks and a lot of food, you're just going to or in January, you're going to feel not nice. You're going to feel overweight. You know how you feel after you've eaten a lot and drank a lot. So limit that. You're going to be thankful for yourself later. And communicate it with your loved ones. Most people understand. Instead of having big parties, rather go to the communal swimming pool or the estate swimming pool, have a braai there, instead of going to a restaurant and paying 600, 700 Rand per person for a meal. You have more time together. So embrace the simplicity of life. So that is my recommendation, to not go into financial strain during December.
Lastly, handling external pressures to overspend during the season can be challenging. Any advice for how people can manage their family expectations?
So the best way to manage your family's expectations or your budget is to, if you have little kids, to start early in the year. Let them make a list of things that they really want for Christmas and start buying it earlier. It's most of the time it's cheaper to do it that way. If you're buying it in a crunch now, people know, or businesses know, they make prices more expensive in December. So that's one way you can do that. And then instead of teaching your kids, if grandparents give them money for Christmas, instead of saying, you know what, you can use this money, go buy yourself toys. Tell them, if you save this money for the next month, I'll double it. Then you're going to teach your kids to save money already. Small little lessons that you can use now during the Christmas season.
Thank you, Maria, for joining us on this episode and sharing these great tips with us.
Thank you.
That was Maria Smith, who is a certified financial planner at Brenthurst Wealth.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Money Rules Podcast. To listen to more, go to moneyweb.co.za or the Moneyweb app and follow Moneyweb News for daily updates. Moneyweb, your trusted source for business and investment insights.